Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about week 4 topics related to user experience design and web development and design. And when I'm done, it's going to go in this module 4 course materials page under this week 4 video lecture. So right now I just have a placeholder in there and it says need to update just so I don't publish this page without putting this new video on there. So that's what all that is about, what you can see on the screen. So I'm certainly not going to go over every topic in our chapter readings, chapters 5 and 6. That's what your readings are for. And then I also provided 2 videos for you to watch related to those topics. So really what I want to do is just make a couple of comments on these 2 topics here, and then jump to the additional week 4 slides. And the thing I want to say about the week 4 slides here is that, let's see, the information contained in it is meant to augment information from your chapter readings and then these 2 videos here. So it's not something that's necessarily found. It's not necessarily stuff found in the textbook. I wanted to add that on there because it's related to the topic. All right, so with all that said, let's talk about user experience design. When it comes to user experience design or UX, it's not limited to marketing. This one applies, so this concept applies to any area, any industry that has some kind of process to it where there's a task to perform. And user experience design is about ensuring that we don't frustrate people in whatever process they're involved in to get what they want. And one example I was just thinking about before starting this video is the user experience of paying bills online. So every month I have several different bills to pay. So I got my different utilities and then the credit cards and then other bills. And yeah, the task is the same. It's about paying bills online, but the user experience is different depending on whatever thought process the designers put into the whole user experience of paying the bills. So, for example, for one website is really easy. I log in, first page I see, there's a make a payment button, click, choose the amount I want to pay, the dates, and then also the account, and then pay. Boom, done. And then with others, I log in, and then I have to search for the make a payment button. It's like one of the menu items. And then when I choose that, then I'm like, okay, let me type in a number, say 100, 100. Then I get a message saying, oh, that's not valid. It needs decimal points. Well, I don't need to mess with that in another platform, but with this one, I do. So that's frustrating there, right? I'm used to doing it a certain way. And then now here's this user experience that's just kind of a little bit frustrating. And then when it comes to choosing the date, some are pretty easy with their calendars. Others, it's like, yeah, it's not very intuitive. And then the last one has to do with choosing a bank account. So with one, it's just always there. I can save what I use so that I can just keep using that every month. But with this one, or I think I have 2 of those actually, where every month I have to put in my account information on there to pay it. So I got to find my routing number, my account number, all that stuff. And because I do that every month, yeah, I pretty much have my routing number and my account number for my checking account. I have that memorized because of that. But still, that's pretty frustrating, to have to do that. So that's just one example. And as I mentioned, user experience is not limited to just marketing applications. This is with any industry. So whatever major you're in, whatever career you're in, or whatever you want to do, user experience is a pretty big deal when it comes to just coming up with a workflow that makes sense. So again, this word right here to remember, something that does not frustrate. So something that supports whatever goal it is that process, whatever that is you're supporting with a platform or that whole, just whatever they're using to do that. Okay, so that's chapter 5. And then chapter 6 is related to, it follows right along with the user experience design chapter with web development, because when it comes to marketing, digital marketing, which is what this class is about, most organizations, they typically will rely on a website as the main point of contact for people to look up information about the products or services that the organization offers. And so it's very important that the user experience is positive for your customers and potential customers, those who might buy your products. So just think about websites that you visited. There are some that are awesome and then others that are not so awesome. So kind of like the payment process that I talked about a couple of minutes ago. So I don't know about you, but if something is poorly designed, like a website, I think to myself, like, oh, I wonder if I can trust this organization. They can't even get it together with their website. Or if it's something that's taking too long to load, well, I'm just going to move on, because, anything that takes more than more than a second, I pretty much move on, because I'm like, this is going to be frustrating. So there's that word again, right? So user experience is a big deal when it comes to web development and design. So those are the main things that I wanted to say. So again, it's about user experience design being applicable to more than just marketing, and then web development being related to that whole idea, because websites are really important to organizations as part of their digital marketing efforts, because that's how most people look up information about a company's offerings. And then as far as everything else, I'll let you do the readings and then watch these 2 additional videos for context. Now let's move on to the week 4 slides about shopping in the digital era and new distribution models. So if you click on that, it'll take you to a shared PowerPoint file that you can save. So this one, as the title page says, is shopping in the digital era and new distribution model. So I'm not going to go through each slide because there are 49 of them. I'm just going to highlight a few of the topics on here, starting with the channel of distribution. So typically what you're going to see is there's a manufacturer, a distributor, and a consumer in this workflow. So manufacturer manufactures a product. They then send their products to the distributor, and then the distributor sells it to the consumer. So that's how consumers end up with the product that was manufactured. So pretty standard stuff there. We've seen that before in our lives. Now let's get to the topics that I have on here: showrooming, omnichannel shopping, and mobile shopping. And I put a lot of information in each slide. And then for some of them, there are going to be links and references that you could use to refer to these items if you want to learn more about them. So that's one approach that you can take. Let me go back to showrooming. So first topic, showrooming is the phenomenon that where consumers touch and feel products at a physical location, but the price comparison and ordering of the product happens online. And typically, ordering online is what consumers resort to, because that's where they find eh, that's where they find the lowest price typically. So in this example that I have on here, there's Best Buy. So you see this new phone is out, Apple or Samsung, and you're like, oh, yeah, I could read all about it online, but there's not going to be a substitute to being able to check it out in person, see what it feels like, see what it looks like, see if it's what I'm looking for. And so, yeah, in this scenario, maybe you saw it in Amazon, the website. So you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Then you go to Best Buy so you can check it out. But Best Buy is not where you want to buy it. You want to buy it online because it's just cheaper, or you think it's cheaper, or maybe you have a Amazon credit card and you get deals. Who knows? But for whatever reason, that's what happens. So not just Best Buy, right? But in many scenarios, is yeah, you just go to the store to check it out, but really you're going to buy it online because it's a better deal. In most cases, some cases, so that's showrooming. And so what ends up happening is by default, items for sale on Amazon, well, Best Buy is the showroom for those products, but Best Buy doesn't get anything out of it because in the end, the customer buys it elsewhere. So what does Best Buy do? Well, they've come up with the Renew Blue effort where they partner with manufacturers to essentially rent a space so that they could show their products in store. So that's been a good solution because Best Buy wins. They get money for showing stuff like that. It works out for the manufacturer because people still, as I put on here, people still want to see and touch a product before they buy it. And many of these things that are for sale online by big manufacturing giants, like what I listed here, they have no physical show places. So, of course, except for the Apple Store, Apple products. But yeah, for the most part, that's not going to be the case. And really, with the Apple Store, right, that's not even an option for people living in rural areas. For example, you might have to travel 1 or 2 hours to or more to go to the nearest Apple store. So that really works out that way, this arrangement. Now, in thinking about marketers, how they could cope with this phenomenon we call showrooming, well, here's a few strategies. First one, they could price match, right? So I said earlier that most consumers find their prices are lower online or they think it's lower online. Well, if you have a price match guarantee or a price match strategy, then that could certainly eliminate that, right? And then related to the next topic, instant gratification. If I can buy it now in store, then I don't need to wait for it to be delivered tomorrow, 2 days from now, or who knows how long from now, right? And I wouldn't have to pay shipping fees or deal with any of that. I can take this home with me. And then here are other product strategies here. Like you could focus on the service aspect, like you could install it or you could repair it. So if something breaks, for example, you could easily take it back for them to repair that. So if you were dealing exclusively online with an organization, so here's an example I remember. I bought a Dell laptop a few years back, and when I got it, it was all scratched up, and I was like, "What? I don't want this." So I had to return the product, and that took another 2 weeks for them to fix it. Who knows what they did with it? But yeah, it didn't come back for a while, and of course, I didn't have a laptop to use. And then when it came back, I was like already over it by that point. But it was scratched up. Like, why was it damaged? So, and then another time, I ordered a TV online, and when I opened the box, the screen was cracked. I'm like, what? So I had to return that, wait for a refund to process, which took a couple weeks. It was a mess. So see stuff like that. Well, in a physical location, I could just go back and say, this TV is broken. that I want to replace it. So all of that can happen in the same day. I mean, still a little inconvenient, but a lot better than waiting for things to ship back and forth. Okay, divorce purchase from distribution. So this is still related to the whole topic of showrooming. So in this example, we have companies like Mattress Firm where people can, yeah, okay, if they're looking for a mattress, they could still do their search online, but they could go to a physical location, check out the product, lay on the mattress, see if they like it, and if they want it, they can buy it from that store. Now, of course, because it's not as easy as putting a mattress into a shopping bag, well, in this business model, Mattress Firm will ship the mattress from the warehouse to the customer. So there's no items for sale within the store itself. And this works. So let me see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, why does divorce purchase from distribution work? Well, sometimes there are problems with physical stores. So it could be prohibitive to have inventory on hand because of space limitations. Then you have to hire more staff to unpack deliveries. So there's just those added extra costs. So if you eliminate that, like in Mattress Firm's case, well, you won't need to worry about those things like extra space and additional staff. And it certainly meets a need because just like in the Best Buy scenario that I talked about, or maybe not even that directly, but just what I'm trying to say is I should just read what it says here. There are still many consumers who like to check the fit and feel of a product. So there's just going to be no replacement, no substitute to that, right? You could read all you want about a product, you could watch all the videos, but in the end, you're not experiencing it directly. So you're still going to be like, do I really want to take the chance? Because returning a product, as like the two examples I gave not too long ago, it could be a real pain to have to deal with that. And then you're out that money, you wait for it to be refunded. It's just a frustrating experience. And yeah, we could eliminate a lot of those problems by combining the physical and the online, like having, and also in the more recent example I'm talking about, just having a way for people to be able to try your product and then they can still get the product directly from the warehouse. Next topic is omni-channel shopping. So this is related to the concept of how shoppers use multiple channels to evaluate and purchase a product. So they would look at a website. So remember what I said earlier, right? That's why websites are important. Okay. And then there's also, they're going to look at social media. And then going back online, there might be places where there are reviews of the products. Let's see, experience. Oh, and then as I've been talking about earlier, experiencing products in a local physical store. So there's that. Again, there's no substitute to that, right? If there's a place where you could do that, a lot of consumers feel that that's a great option. And then the convenience of being able to order online or even offline, like Mattress Firm's case, you could order in the store and then it gets shipped to you. You don't have to try to come home with it, drag it back to your house. And then the organization, in this case, Mattress Firm, selling it that way, well, they don't have all the additional costs that go with having items on hand. So really what I'm trying to get at is this point right here. It's the integration of all of that together into the overall customer experience. So that goes back to my original point about the user experience design. Like how are we making it so that the products we create as marketers get to the consumers with the least friction? None of that frustration stuff, right? And there are many ways to go about doing it, and that's what this slide is about. So on the left side, how is information delivered about the products being sold? And then at the bottom here is about the fulfillment. How does the customer go about getting that information? So we have the traditional model here in the top left, where you go offline, so in a physical location, and then you also buy it in the physical location. Then there are variations. You could look for information online, but then go to the store and pick up the product, or these other two here. So that's really the main point I wanted to talk about here. And see the numbers on there? Those correspond with the quadrants. And then if you go to the later slides, see it'll say like quadrant 2 and so on. So you can kind of connect the dots that way. So this buy online, pick up in store, this business model, I've already kind of touched on that, right? That's certainly something that many consumers like because it eliminates search friction. You don't have to wonder whether a particular item is available in store and what it costs because it's there. But you did your research online and you bought it online, so you can just go to the store and pick it up. Okay, so that leads me to the last item that I want to talk about, mobile shopping, and specifically geo targeting. So let me back up. No surprise, mobile shopping is a big part of digital marketing because with our phones, we buy a lot of our stuff that way. We do our research and then we buy stuff that way. Well, with geo targeting, you could know where people are, and then based on that proximity, you could push promotions out that will then get people to respond. And under weather based customization, this particular study here, they found that people responded to ads based on the words that are used. So if the weather was bad or gloomy, let's see. So weather affects people's mood states, shopping activities, and other daily behaviors. So when the weather is rainy, then the use of certain words and phrases worked better than when if it was sunny. So exposure to sunlight made people happier, better moods, and so it was better to use certain words and phrases. And I just thought that was a really interesting concept, right? And we can certainly connect that to our users because with our phones, a lot of people connect their phone's location to a weather app, which can then tell them what the weather is based on, you know, like whatever location that is. So with that geo targeting enabled, well, with that information, marketers can know what kind of weather people are experiencing, and then that can help determine what kind of ad, what kind of words to use in whatever it is marketing promotion we push out. So another form of a digital marketing strategy there that I thought was really fascinating. All right, so that is what I have for week 4. As always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.